Good day, everyone. Welcome to Real Conservative News. I'm your host, Nathaniel Rajkumar. Starting off locally here in Trinidad and Tobago, Minister of Homeland Security, Roger Alexander, says the current state of emergency has been successful thus far. Speaking with TTT News at Phagwa celebrations in Dorado on Sunday evening, the minister said police have been making significant inroads since the measure took effect. Much times you'll make significant inroads and then crime just starts to escalate after the SOE expires. Minister Alexander also criticized opposition for rejecting the regulations guiding the state of the emergency. Most of the regulations might be good, but people, even myself, even I was concerned about certain things when it pertains to free speech and so forth. But thankfully, Kamala Prasad-Bissessar clarified certain things on that issue. My response, sometimes I feel sorry for this guy, Roger Alexander. I think his heart is in the right place, but he was radicalized by a corrupt police service, and he also isn't qualified to be the Minister of Homeland Security. At least he doesn't appear to be qualified. I truly hope that Prime Minister Kamala will decide to reshuffle her cabinet before April. April will make it the one-year anniversary of the UNC government being in office. Place Tanku, Zakur, and Roger Alexander in different ministries. I'm not just saying to just cast them aside, right? But place them in different ministries and in junior positions. And what you need to do, Prime Minister Kamala Prasad-Bissessar, you need to acknowledge the fact that while you're doing wonderful work when it pertains to standing boldly with our greatest ally, the democratic ally, the United States of America, and fighting against narco-terrorism, I support those things 100%. But you do not see America using an SOE to fight crime in their country. You cannot govern a nation, a democracy, using an SOE in order to be able to control the murder rate and the crime rate and whatsoever. What you need to do, let's just hope this is the final time in your term that you're going to use an SOE. What you need to do is reform the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service so that the detection rate will increase, so that they can perform their duties properly and in a lawful manner. And this is the problem. Besides the detection rate, which pertains to like the ability to conduct proper investigations. And this is why I love how it is you are inviting the Americans to come to assist with all that. I love all that. But you need to reform the TTPS. And the other thing about it is there are far too many rogue officers. Individuals that commit extortion, individuals that are committing extrajudicial killings, individuals that are committing human trafficking and all these kind of serious crimes, robberies and all. Too much of that is taking place in the Trinidad and Tobago police, and the training itself, something is wrong with it, because as police officers exit that training period, they believe that they are above the law. They believe that they are gods unto themselves, and that needs to change. They actually conduct themselves in public in a way where they believe they can do anything and get away with it. I'm telling you, I see it all the time in Sangre Grande. They park illegally. Many of them, sometimes when they're off duty, they are drinking and they're drunk and they're driving. They use obscene language in public. So this is the thing about it. How can you have individuals that are lawbreakers enforcing the law, Madam Prime Minister? And this is why I'm hoping that you will somehow or the other wake up from that little blindness that you have there, because those are your colleagues or those are members of your cabinet, and realize that there's need for change. Don't go anywhere. More local, regional, and international news up next.
From the date it started and today, we have seized about 9 or 10 firearms, if I'm not mistaken. We also have detained a number of persons, and you know, sometimes I hear people talk and I hear they mention to us time after time, you know, what happens after, why nobody's charged. If you're having something called a preventative detention order, is it not to prevent something from happening? And if you prevent something from happening, then it did not happen.
Minister Alexander also criticized the opposition for rejecting the regulations guiding the state of emergency.
I also noticed that there was a paparazzi type finish by the People's National Movement. That's all I could call it, a paparazzi type finish, because they are complaining about the regulations. But they didn't realize that all we did, we dust it off. The ones that they had in 2024, dust it off. Improve on it. And bring it back. And now they are rejecting it.
Airlift is development infrastructure. That's according to Minister of Trade, Investment and Tourism Satyakama Maharaj while speaking at the official launch of Inter-Caribbean Airways. New 4 times weekly services between Barbados and Trinidad and Tobago. The minister said the route represents far more than an additional flight option and signals renewed confidence in Caribbean integration and economic potential. He said the latest airlift launch is a critical step toward fixing the region's long-standing connectivity problems aimed at boosting tourism and more.
Where there's reliable connectivity, tourism expands. Where there's reliable connectivity, trade becomes easier. Where there's reliable connectivity, business relationships deepen. Investment discussions move faster, and regional commerce becomes more practical. For our business community, this service means faster, more predictable movement across a regional corridor. Increased inter-Caribbean airlift is especially important for Trinidad and Tobago because it strengthens our position as a high-value, experience-rich.
Clearing the way in Laltu Drain Penal. And that's the thing about it. Just what it was. The same Ministry of Works was highlighting how they were doing great work in Diego Martin, a PNM stronghold, a faithful wife of the People's National Movement. No matter what the wonderful PNM does, they vote for them. Almost the whole population in Diego Martin just loves the PNM no matter what. But so that just shows that the Prime Minister, as much as I have certain issues with her, she genuinely seeks to serve all the peoples of our country, no matter whether it's a PNM district or a UNC district. Drainage works, but now it is PNL we are talking about here, but I just wanted to highlight that one time. Drainage works were recently completed along Laltu Drain in Penal, where the ministry's recruitment drainage workers cleared thick overgrowth, built up debris, and stubborn blockages that have been choking the channel for some time, which of course leads to flooding. Proactive once again, preventing what will take place during the rainy season, flooding. These works form part of the nationwide One Clean Nation initiative supported by the expanded workforce engaged through the 2025 National Recruitment Drive. With this additional support, more areas can be addressed as we prepare for the upcoming rainy season. Once again, as I just said, being proactive instead of PNM being reactive, and barely even reacted as well. They left people in places that were flooded and didn't even compensate them or anything like that. For 9.5 years, newly appointed interim head coach of Trinidad and Tobago senior men's football team, Derek King, held his first official training session on Monday at the Mani Ramjan Stadium since being appointed to the role last Friday. The session provided King alongside newly appointed assistant coach Hudson Charles with a close, that's name song familiar boy, Hudson Charles. Anyhow, with a close look at a group of local-based players before announcing his final squad ahead of TNT's international friendly away to Bolivia on March the 15th. I wish them all the best. I don't know, as I said recently, I don't know if changing the coaches or whatsoever is going to really make much of a difference. I'm telling you, the mentality of our peoples nowadays, whether it's West Indies cricket or the football or any other sport, they seek more about fame and fortune than actually the love of the game and striving for perfection. But even with the TNT, whether it's cricket or even football, I don't think there's sufficient training locally and regionally, and I'm not only just training, but events to be able to practice at a high level amongst each other, to be able to ensure that we could actually compete against these other nations with team members and teams that are really good professional performers. is what is really lacking at this point in time. Nevertheless, I really do hope, I wish them the best. Regional news up next.
For Tuesday, the 10th of March 2026, the weather. Trinidad and Tobago is forecast to be partly sunny and breezy with a high chance of high UV levels, while conditions will be mostly fair. A few early morning or isolated showers are possible. Daily weather snapshot conditions. Partly sunny and breezy during the day, becoming partly cloudy at night. Temperature. High, tilde 30 degrees Celsius, 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Low, tilde 22 degrees Celsius to 23 degrees Celsius, 72 degrees Fahrenheit to 74 degrees Fahrenheit. Precipitation, 15 to 25% chance of light showers, most likely in the early morning. Wind, easterly at roughly 18 kilometers per h, 11 miles per hour, with potential for higher gusts near any passing showers. Sun and air, UV index, high, 7 to very high. 10 sun protection is strongly recommended. Sunrise see sunset. 6:14 a.m. Subteam 6, 15 p.m. sea condition. Marine interests should expect moderate to rough sea conditions, with wave heights typically ranging between 2.0 m and 3.0 m in open waters.
Minister responsible for family and gender affairs in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Laverne Gibson Velox, says she would like to see women who find themselves in difficult situations provided with safe housing through her ministry. That sounds like a wonderful thing to do, and even if we have that here in Trinidad and Tobago, we need to expand that program. Comment. People don't be commenting enough. Let me know if we have programs like that here in Trinidad. And even if we do, is it really effective? Is it even really encouraging women to leave these homes where where there's domestic violence taking place? Or is it some kind of tiny little shelter that people feeling as though they're in a prison? Let's hope that's not what is taking place in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Minister Velox outlined this and other plans for her ministry while joining her cabinet colleagues on radio on Friday, celebrating their first 100 days in office. Definitely what I'm seeing thus far from this new government in SVG, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they are also, just like the UNC and Irfan Ali in Guyana, they are seeking to serve citizens of their country, of their island, in a genuine way.
What I would really love to see happen is that there is a safe home for women, a place where they can, when they're abused and they're taken out and you want to take them out of the situation, a safe home. We don't have that. There was the Guadalupe home that was burnt. It hasn't been rebuilt. So, that we have a shortfall there, right. And the need is great. We also need, we are about to move a little later this year. We're going to move offices because we don't have enough space where we are for confidentiality. Young girls come in, they want counseling. We don't have that space available.
Physical works on the new US $35 million Wisma McKenzie Bridge in Linden, Region 10, Guyana, have reached 97% completion, bringing the long-anticipated crossing closer to commissioning. Development. People probably say, why I keep saying this over and over again? It's because it's really impressive. Development taking place in Guyana at an exponential rate after decades upon decades about everybody just looking down at that country, including Trinidad and Tobago. The update was provided to Minister of Public Works, Bishop Kwan Edgehill, during a targeted assessment visit to the project site last Friday. The Jamaica Libraries and Information Network, an arm of the National Library of Jamaica, has launched a Jamaican Sign Language Training Initiative aimed at strengthening accessibility and inclusion across Jamaica's library network. The program, titled Bridging the Gap, One Sign at a Time, was officially launched on March the 2nd during a ceremony held at the University of West Indies, Mona campus. That is great news. Do we have a program like that here in Trinidad and Tobago? We don't. Maybe we should. The Minister of Labor, Social Security and Third Sector has announced plans to develop a national adult literacy strategy with the Ministry of Education, Technological and Vocational Training as concerns grow about how low literacy levels limit access to training jobs in Barbados. That is something that is affecting our country here in Trinidad and Tobago. Trust me, it is widespread throughout our country.
I'm pleased to say that we have, over the past, I would say maybe about 6 months, established a very good working relationship with the Ministry of Technological and Vocational Training. We've done some work together with respect to apprenticeships, but the chemistry is such that this working together will happen. Now, the People Development Advisory Council is also made up of persons from the Ministry of Technological and Vocational Training. And so whatever we do to advance this matter will include that ministry. But I spoke about the working relationship only to say that beyond the Advisory Council, the actual working together at the technical officers level has already started, whilst in a different area, but it portends very well to working on this matter, the matter of adult literacy, to make sure that we can get our people to a place where they feel good about themselves and where they're able to access the various opportunities that are available for them, or that could be available for them once they cross that hurdle. I will ask the program manager, Ms. Erica Watson, to share some more with respect to answering the question.
Building a home in the Bahamas is getting more expensive, but mortgage lending is rising. Ooh, that's making it even more expensive. With banks approving more loans for construction and repairs, the question is whether everyday Bahamians will actually benefit. Mortgage commitments for new construction and home repairs jumped 73.6% to $74.1 million in the fourth quarter of 2025, according to the central bank. At the same time, the average residential mortgage rate eased slightly to 6%. So it's definitely getting more expensive to own a home and to purchase a home in the Bahamas. That is one place, definitely. Those islands I would love to visit. After, of course, I start my journey in Guyana. International news now. The Israeli Defense Force completed a wave of strikes against 6 military airfields in Iran. The Israeli Air Force continues to deepen aerial superiority over Iranian skies. The Israeli Air Force continues to operate against the Iranian terrorist Ayatollah regime. Now the people want liberation. They have been asking Trump for help and now they are getting it. Last night, a wave of strikes against 6 major Iranian military airfields was completed. As part of the strikes, numerous aircraft were dismantled, including Quds Force aircraft belonging to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and Iranian combat helicopters. In addition, runways and defense and detection systems intended to operate against IAF aircraft operating in Iranian airspace were also struck. And this is good news because you know what? As much as mainstream media, the Akash media in Trinidad and Tobago will want to condemn Israel for their actions in military operation in Iran, all the other Middle East nations that are being targeted by Iran, many of whom are also allies of Iran, will benefit because the Ayatollah regime will no longer be able to be capable to strike these other nations and harm innocent civilians. Donald Trump, U.S. President Donald Trump's most recent statement about Iran or the military operation in Iran. Together with our Israeli partners, we are crushing the enemy in an overwhelming display of technical skill and military force. I love how he's showing respect for Israel finally. After so long that I had certain issues with him. Iran's drone and missile capability is being utterly demolished, he went on to say. Their navy is gone. It is all lying at the bottom of the ocean. 46 ships beneath, under the sea. Ay, ay, ay. Can you believe it? We can.
Everybody understands it. Together with our Israeli partners, we're crushing the enemy in an overwhelming display of technical skill and military force. Iran's drone and missile capability is being utterly demolished. The Navy is gone. It's all lying at the bottom of the ocean. 46 ships. Can you believe it? In fact, I got a little upset with our people. I said, what quality of ship? Excellent, sir. Top of the line. I said, why did we just capture the ship? We could have used it. Why did we sink them? They said, it's more fun to sink them. I said, they like sinking them better. They say it's safer to sink them. I guess it's probably true. Their terrorist leaders are gone. We're counting down the minutes until they will be gone. Think of it. We had leaders, and they're gone. Then we had new leaders, and they're gone. And now nobody has any idea who the people are that are going to be the head of the country, and will not relent until the enemy is totally and decisively defeated. We go forward more determined than ever to achieve ultimate victory that will end this long-running danger once and for all. 47 years. It should have been done a long time ago. Many opportunities. The United States of America is the greatest and most exceptional nation in human history and will not be threatened by evil terrorists and lunatics any longer. We just can't do that. And there was a dark cloud hanging over not only Israel, which was going to get wiped out. You know, if we didn't do that B-2 attack, Israel would have been wiped out. They would have had a nuclear weapon within 2 weeks after that. And even now, I think they were looking to take over the Middle East, because when you look, and we have pretty good proof, all of those missiles that were so stupidly aimed at Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, they're always saying, no, there was no reason. Well, I'll give you the best reason of all. Within a week, they were going to attack us 100%. They were ready. They had all these missiles, far more than anyone thought, and they were going to attack us. But they were going to attack all of the Middle East and Israel. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they would have used it on Israel. And this was going to be a major attack. And they had all of those missile sites and all those launchers that we got rid of, about 80% of them right now, by the way.
Now for the interesting fact segment, neurotechnology company Eon Systems has just demonstrated what many scientists believe was decades away. The first successful whole brain emulation that produces natural complex behaviors. But anyhow, by taking a complete digital map of an adult fruit fly brain containing roughly 139,255 neurons and 50 million synapses and plugging it into a physics stimulated body, researchers watched as the virtual insect began to walk, groom, and forage entirely on its own. Something that we would have only seen in sci-fi movies and shows long time. This milestone is a massive departure from traditional artificial intelligence. While tools like ChatGPT are trained on massive data sets using gradient descent, this virtual fly received zero training. It just got the information out of the natural fly. Its movements were not programmed by humans or learned through trial and error. Instead, the behaviors were emergent, meaning they arose naturally from the biological wiring diagram, the connect-com itself. When the virtual fly's sensors detect a stimulus, the signal travels through the digital neurons exactly as it would in a living fly, resulting in a physical response. Now that sounds so amazing, but to me, it shows me the signs of the times. I said this is why in our era is the only time in our history when the Antichrist can be revealed and 7 years of tribulation can begin. Am I sure that it will take place in my lifetime? No, I do. I still do have the hope. And I still do know that we are at some point in the end time. Because unlike all other generations before my generation, the Antichrist was not going to be able to monitor the entire world and see who doing what and who not doing. And it was also impossible to enforce what the Bible says will take place, where you will not be able to buy or sell without taking the mark of the beast. All that was impossible up to 50 years or less ago. Now with this type of technology, even the image of the beast, people in Revelation, When a guy asked me on the page, what are you talking about? What this fly has to do with anything? The image of the beast. Yes, most likely, I do believe it will also be taken over by a spiritual being, whether it's the devil or Satan or whoever. But also, most likely, a lot of the image of the beast will also have a lot of AI technology controlling it as well. So I said certain predictions in Revelation were impossible until now.
Welcome to Real Conservative News Travel Adventures. Xiamen, often called the Garden on the Sea, is a sophisticated coastal city in China's Fujian province. It is celebrated for its laid-back atmosphere, UNESCO World Heritage Architecture, and a unique blend of European colonial history and traditional Minnan culture top attractions. Gulangyu Island, a UNESCO World Heritage Site known for its pedestrian-only streets, Victorian-era architecture, and piano museum. Nanpuchuo Temple Nanpuo, a Tang Dynasty temple at the foot of Wulao Peaks, famous for its vegetarian cuisine and scenic mountain hiking trails.
Folks, that brings us to the end of today's news report. Thanks again to everyone who continues to support my content. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay blessed and stay safe, most of all, in Jesus' name.